Hey everyone, what DIVOC chapter 4? Let's go for it. It's called Toilet Paper Party. Still in week 1, March 16th to the 22nd. And I know that I'm basically in my wife's office, so sometimes I'll put a backdrop to make it a little bit more special. So, hey. Hey, how you doing? Kind of strange. It's supposed to be an audiobook anyway. Here we go. Mac is sitting in his favorite chair looking out his window as the sun rises. He sips on his morning coffee, enjoying the moment, and he quietly mutters, "The sun is new each day," tips his mug to the window, and makes his way to the kitchen. At the same time, across town, Jake is moaning in bed. Utter agony. His legs are killing him. Let's just say the evening jog did not go unnoticed by his body. He's so stiff, he falls out of bed, groaning and laughing at the same time. While in pain, he sees the irony of him doing something good for his body that he hasn't done in a very long time: exercise. Now he's lying face down on his floor, laughing at his pathetic pain. He yelps out loud, "Isn't this a sexy moment?" He tries to pull himself up to his nightstand, but knocks his alarm clock radio. Yes, he still has a vintage alarm clock in his bedroom, and it turns on accidentally. Out comes a glaring, booming voice, ranting and raving. It's the wake up call with Lando. Pure bullocks. All these overreactions from the left leaning softies and bleeding hearts out there. Take care of your shit. John, his producer, pops his head up, hearing the inappropriate language. Landu continues on. It's always everybody else's fault. No ownership of your own decisions. That means this will head south quickly. And I don't mean to the U.S. You don't see them getting all bent out of shape over this thing. They'll deal with it. But no, get all over protective and overreact like we'll do. Locking this down, locking that down. Can't go here, can't go there. Give me a break. Our leaders will take us right down the shitter. John gives a hand gesture to Lando, advising him about the choice of his language. But Lando ignores his producer's reminder and calls John out on the air. Shitter, shitter, shitter. That's what I said. My trained donkey just gave me the don't say that word sign. Why? Because he's soft. He's afraid of the man, that the authority will come down on him. But you know what? I'm not afraid. It's time to wake up, people. Jake has managed to pull himself to his feet and hobble to his bathroom to go sit and contemplate life. Lando is still grandstanding in the background and decides to take one last cheap shot at John. We are way too soft, people. Soft, I say. Just like John Smith, my so-called producer slash donkey boy, we are messing this up. And down the line, it's going to be the me's and the you's of the world, my listeners, who will have to pick up the pieces of bad decision after bad decision. And we shall end up paying for it. Kate and Ryan are the only two ones up in their household. Usually it would only be Kate up at the crack of dawn, but Ryan and his new job at the grocery store have him excited to go. Kate is still not pleased that he went around her, but she can't deny her son's motivation and drive, even if he's only doing this because he doesn't want to be cooped up all day with his grandparents. Kate doesn't let on how worried she is about the entire situation. The initial report she's hearing from colleagues out of the long-term care facilities is that big trouble is brewing. She has always been an advocate for improving the living conditions of her residents, and now she's afraid that the lack of improvements within the system will cause overworked, underpaid, and underfunded facilities such as hers to be even more at risk of being hammered by this pandemic. She needs to keep her residents safe, as she's very worried. They both finish up their breakfast and take off. Ryan leaves and sees his Uncle William in the driveway, in his car, and on his phone. He doesn't think much of it, but he tries to give him a wave. William is immersed in an animated conversation with someone and doesn't even notice him. He's weird. Ryan snickers. Jake's been lying on the floor, kind of acting like a big baby with a sore body all morning. His phone rings and he realizes it's in his living room. He crawls out on his hands and knees, groaning, "I'm coming, oh, I'm coming." He looks like a slithering adult male doing a caterpillar on speed kind of impersonation, wiggling on the hardwood floors towards his cell phone. Thank goodness nobody can see this, especially Kate. He truly looks pathetic, lovable, but pathetic. He gets to the phone before the other person hangs up. Hey, son, it's Mac. Ah, Pops, you're not Kate. A disappointed Jake answers, especially after he just spent his last ounce of energy trying to get to the phone on time. He recollects his thoughts. Oh, I mean, what's up, Dad? Mac right away trying to be apologetic and not too demanding, explain how Arthur has already called him 3 times this morning, demanding or maybe requesting that Jake go get more toilet paper before they run out. It's kind of urgent. Jake listens, his eyes closed, still lying on the floor in utter disbelief at this ridiculous request. Okay, Dad. Okay, I promise I'll get some and bring it today. Promise. Jake lets his father go and contemplates how the heck's he going to be able to even leave his apartment while in so much pain. Forget the idea of going to the grocery store again. He thinks, good old LeBlanc. He'll do me a solid. So he calls up his buddy, who happily agrees to go get the golden toilet paper for the 2 old men. He'll bring it over to them after he's finished his delivery runs today. Back at Kate's work, a few of the residents are showing signs of not feeling so well. To be completely honest, there are always signs of residents not feeling well for a multitude of ailments. It is a long-term care facility. The age of the people living there runs from 67 to the grand matriarch herself, Iris, who is 91. She doesn't act her age compared to the state of some of her younger residents, though. Kate's stress level, while she looked calm on the outside world at work, is becoming increasingly worried. Everything needs to be perfect, or things can go south very quickly. It's been difficult advising the family members that they cannot come and visit their loved ones. And even if it's only been a couple of days, the morale of the residents during this mandated isolation and quarantine is likely to be chipped away systematically as it drags on. Maintaining a happy environment with a sense of normalcy is paramount. And while without yielding on the vigilance and cleanliness measures that need to be in place, her staff must deal with the pressure of work and their own home lives. This will be very tough on them. She decides to take a moment and be bold. I'm calling Jake, just to say hi. Jake's phone rings as he sprawled out on the couch, and as the day has progressed, he's a little less man baby in dealing with his one jog affliction. At least he's no longer sprawled out on the floor, but as luck would have it, he forgot his phone in the bathroom. It must have been when he was doing the, sit and waste time on your phone idea. Like some people do at the office when they want to kill time. He shuffles off quickly to the bathroom and sees that it's Kate calling. Hello? Hi, Jake. It's Kate. Figured I'd give you a call. Suddenly, the phone goes dead. Kate says, hello, Jake. She tries to call back, but nobody picks up. That's so strange. Why did he hang up? I hope he's okay. Her imagination takes a tiny turn of, does he not want to talk to me anymore? Little does she know, the bumbling ninny dropped his cell phone into the toilet with his infinite wisdom and clumsiness. Therefore, he can't answer. Jake is furious with himself as he sits at his kitchen table with his phone and his bag of rice, hoping beyond hope that this phone is not dead and will turn back on soon. A few hours eventually go by and the phone still doesn't work. Idiot, he tells himself. He feels he deserved this self-loathing, at least for this moment. Zoe Sassy, the quarantine reporter, finishes up her report on working from home. Her story covers the service of receiving your groceries at your door. You don't need to step out of the door if you don't have to. The problem is half the things she's ordered from her local grocery store were not in the bag or were completely wrong. These are the growing pains for clients and businesses right now. So she kicks back to the news desk and the anchor says, we are now cutting live to another reporter who's at a grocery store talking to those shoppers who have ventured out. The inexperienced reporter delivers a somewhat nervous report as customers mingle about behind him. Suddenly, a giant tower of toilet paper comes crashing to the floor, and lo and behold, who is standing right behind the fallen tower of soft paper debris? LeBlanc, with 2 big packs under his armpits, somewhat embarrassed and proud at the same time. Heck, I'm on TV. He accidentally banged into the tower and made it come crashing down and stands there like a lion on a large rock looking over the other customers. None of the customers, however, care as they snatch up every fallen toilet paper package on the floor like a cackle of hyenas gnawing at the leftover scraps. LeBlanc gives a little wink to the camera, which captured the entire clumsy chaos. They cut back to the news desk with an awkward smile. Back to you. The anchor woman turns to her desk partner and says, "Oh, what would happen if the world ran out of toilet paper? What would we do?" Her colleague quickly, smartly answers back, "Depends. Adult diapers for everyone." They both awkwardly chuckle at the corny and lame broadcasting banter joke. Lizzie is coloring some rainbows to put in the windows of her house. She spots Auntie Kate coming back from home from work. Kate sees her niece in the window and waves to her as they talk just a little bit through the glass. Lizzie asks if she can come over to see Grandma, but Kate tries to deflect the conversation, not wanting to explain the extent of the social distancing the two families have now undertaken, at least for the next little while. "Not tonight, honey. Tell your mom I'm going to call her later." Like clockwork, Ryan comes strolling up the driveway and waves to his little cousin, but does not go to see her. Lisa's kind of disappointed. It's been a long couple of days at home with just mom and dad. This is going to be very tough on this little girl. No friends and no other family members. As soon as Ryan gets inside, Kate begins a thorough disinfecting procedure on her son. She starts wiping him down with Lysol wipes and grills him about his day. "Wash your hands, wipe down every inch of your body, and go take a shower." She follows him as he heads out to the bathroom, and even stands at the closed door, tossing question after question from the other side. Kate's questions are like, "Were you safe? Did you wear your mask all day? What was his protective equipment like? How many times did you wash your hands?" Yada, yada, yada. Ryan answers all the questions, knowing there is no way around it from his mom. He walks from the shower to his room and to the kitchen with his mother close behind, bombarding him with question after question. He's beat. He just wants to go to his room and play some video games, eat and sleep, the life of a teenager working a first job. Monroe and Evelyn have been watching their daughter and grandson go back and forth at each other like a competitive ping pong match, with their heads swinging back and forth. It's been a dull day for both seniors, so this is the most excitement and action they've seen in hours. Jake is slowly getting over his exercise beat down from the other evening. The only thing he's done is think and think and think a little more. And, think about dropping his phone in the toilet. While the idea may have initially seemed like being on vacation for this pandemic, he has quickly realized he needs to keep busy and get some stuff done. These 2 weeks are going to be pretty long, and he needs to be somewhat productive. He's also stressing about the accidental toilet drop hang up on Kate, as he checks his phone every 5 minutes to see if his phone is turned back on. He decides if it doesn't come back on to life in the next 30 minutes, he's going to find a payphone. But do payphones even exist anymore? So you better scratch that idea. That won't work either. He has no idea what Kate's number is, because who remembers phone numbers anymore? It's in his cell phone. Suddenly, hallelujah, the phone turns back on and he calls Kate, but it goes to her answering machine. He explains the story of his phone dying, without saying how it died, of course. She doesn't need to hear about the toilet phone problems. He'll try again this evening. After a few minutes, he hopes maybe she'll call back right away. So he pauses, and he realizes he needs a distraction, some sort of semblance of normalcy and productivity. So he decides to call one of his best customers. He calls Miles McDonald, who is based in Nova Scotia and supplies sporting goods to countless stores in the picturesque Atlantic province. Jake hopes that maybe, just maybe, he can get lucky and get an order of some goods so as to open back the company and surprise Pierre with some good news. The men talk for a few minutes about the craziness of all the virus stuff, and Jake throws in some small talk about how his dad Mac would love to move back to his native province of Nova Scotia one day. Mac grew up there and eventually settled in Quebec near Montreal sometime around 1976 in the Summer Olympics. Mac fell in love with the city, but the real reason is it had everything to do with a certain French-speaking beauty from Montreal's South Shore that he really fell in love with, Jake's mom, Therese. Jake throws it out there. "Miles, don't you need to resupply some of the stores in your area? I'm sure I can make a great deal to get you ready for the upcoming months. It's going to be a huge win-win on this deal, I'm sure of it." Miles appreciates, but somewhat surprised, throws it back to Jake, explaining that there's no way he can go on a limb and try to do much more business, not like usual. He wishes he could, but Miles, in his usual calm demeanor and country-type rhetoric, basically tells Jake there's no chance. Miles inquires with Jake, "Have you not been paying kind of close attention to the world? China and Italy and Spain and other countries? North America has been so wrapped up in its own speck of the planet that we haven't prepared for this properly. We pretended like this problem was somebody else's in the world, and now we're going to get hit badly for that incomplete planning. Miles thanks Jake for the check in, but there's nothing he can do. So Jake sits there contemplating and clearly sees there is no way this is happening right now. He wonders what Miles suggests. Could it be true that he is oblivious and blind about the magnitude and seriousness of it all? Or is Miles overreacting just a little bit? Jake doesn't even know one person with this virus. Not one. LeBlanc pulls up in front of Mac's apartment building with two huge toilet paper packs under his arm. These are the Costco-sized big bad boy ones. He heads right up to Mac's door and knocks, and he feels slightly drained from going up the stairs. These packs are kind of heavier than he thought. As a matter of fact, he's been a little lethargic most of the day. He's probably coming down with a little bit of a cold, and he thinks that to be expected. The weather in mid-March usually fluctuates a fair bit. Spring is right around the corner, and he always gets kind of a little cold. So he knocks again, as Mac hasn't answered the door yet. It's kind of strange. Jake made it sound as if these two seniors were desperately waiting for some toilet paper action to ride out this virus storm. Mac has fallen asleep and is taking a midday nap, so he hasn't heard any of the knocking. But no worries. Arthur is ready and able to step in as he swings open the apartment door and says, "Who are you?" Mac is likely sleeping. Just then, Arthur sees the huge toilet paper packages sitting under LeBlanc's arm on the floor. And, "Are you a friend of Jake's?" LeBlanc confirms that he is most definitely, in fact, Jake's best friend, and that Jake asked him to bring these over. Arthur turns his suspicious frown upside down in a heartbeat and is very grateful for the urgent supplies that he needs to stockpile. The two men start to banter back and forth in the hallway just a little as LeBlanc narrates the gong show that he lived through at the grocery store. It was like a pack of wolves on a wounded caribou or something. People were losing it for toilet paper. It's insane. Arthur sees an opportunity to school the young man on the magnitude of the situation and why those possessing the toilet paper will eventually be the kings of a scarce commodity. He explains how the world is literally going about to go down the shitter. LeBlanc is quickly realizing this old man has a few loose screws, but due to his polite nature, he allows the conversation to drag and drag and drag. Arthur gets so animated he doesn't even realize he keeps getting closer and closer to LeBlanc while explaining all of his conspiracy theories. LeBlanc sneezes, and Arthur jumps back as quickly as he can for an elderly gentleman. He pulls out a handkerchief and gives it to him. "Keep it. It's the least I can do for you, going out of your way to help two old men. I'll take Max, and I'll be sure to give it to him when he wakes up. And be sure to take care of that gold." The men politely say goodbye, and LeBlanc heads back down the stairs, proud of himself for his good deed of the day. He thinks he deserves a Boy Scout medal or something, I don't know. Unfortunately, the asymptomatic LeBlanc has unknowingly delivered more than just some toilet paper. He has brought a case of DIVOC, as well to Arthur. Now that's shitty. Arthur picks up both packs and brings them back into his apartment and closes the door with a thud. A groggy Mac opens his door. He thought he heard some talking, but there's nobody there. He must have just missed whoever it was. Mac doesn't know, but I guess that was a blessing. Kate is exhausted after a long day of work and heated discussions at home. She wants to check in on her sister and see what she thinks about Jake's abrupt hang-up from before. She needs to tell someone, and she needs someone to tell her. It's not a big deal. As she's been so wrapped up, she hasn't noticed her phone in her purse has a message. "Well, look, Jake did call back," she notices, and she listens to a rambling message about his phone dying unexpectedly. No matter, it makes her feel much better. She rationalizes, "Well, he said he'd call back, so I'm going to let him. I'm not going to call him again right away like a desperate, over-eager middle-aged woman." Well, that's how she feels it will look anyway. She overhears Ryan in his room talking to his father. Red flags go up immediately as she hears the phone conversation. Now, while Kate wants Ryan to be close to his father, he's an asshole. So it's a struggle to be totally on board with that relationship. As a mother, she has seen her son try desperately to create a relationship with his dad, and that breaks her heart no matter how much she dislikes the boy's biological father. He always seems to let Ryan down, and her best decision in life was to keep Ryan and raise him as a single mom. However, the worst decision in her life was the guy she chose to help create Ryan in her mind. Listening at the door, she can tell Ryan is carrying the conversation as he does when he's nervous. His dad never really cared about his son's life enough to ask many questions. Oh, how she hates him. Just then, the man on the other line says to Ryan that he has to go and his girlfriend just got home. He hangs up quickly. Kate takes a pause and knocks on Ryan's door and asks if he wants a snack. Ryan half heartedly answers back, "Sure, Mom, thanks." He doesn't know his mom's been listening. Kate feels like she can't make things better for her son, but some kindness and affection is what he needs more than anything else. LeBlanc is regaling Jake with the story of his toilet paper pyramid fiasco. And now it seems like it's becoming a fishing story, kind of. A little exaggerated about how big the tower was, the amount of chaos and drama that ensued surrounding the entire process. But LeBlanc can sure tell a story. Jake says, I guess because of that, we should buy stock in toilet paper companies if people are going this crazy. And LeBlanc says, maybe I will. I have a few bucks stashed away for a rainy day. Jake seriously goes, come on. You're joking, right? That's a joke, buddy. LeBlanc, however, starts thinking about penny stocks like personal security equipment and keep away sprays, etc., and all that type of thing. People are losing their minds already. Only a couple days, maybe there's a financial opportunity locked away in that insanity. LeBlanc says, maybe you're onto something, buddy. When everyone is going crazy, find a way to profit off the chickens running around with their heads cut off. Like masks, protective plexiglass barriers. Who knows? Jake can already sense that LeBlanc will stay on the phone all evening if he continues, and he must call Kate again. Okay, bud, you do whatever you have to. I'll talk with you tomorrow, and thanks again for bringing this stuff over to my dad's place. I owe you. I gotta call Kate. Jake finally gets a hold of Kate, and they have another lovely conversation and talk for 2 hours. The discussion starts about Jake's dead phone coming back to life, then the crazy toilet paper story, which escalates them both needing to take care of their older parents. That's what they're really talking about, living both the same type of situation. The conversation wraps up around the respective family dynamics. Kate opens up about her son not having to go to school right now and that he just started a new job. Jake doesn't connect any dots or put two and two together by asking the right questions, such as, what's your son's name or where did he get the job? Because that line of questioning could have led to, you might have met my son at the grocery store, but that never really materializes. Neither one of them is in the know. That would be too freaky of a coincidence, right? The conversation quickly jumps to the fact that her son's father is a douchebag, but she doesn't say his name or what he does either. Kate has no interest in talking about him. They both sense an authentic connection that feels so easy between them. Jake even explains how he did the jog, but has paid a huge price and that he's been in pain all day. They both laugh. The letting down of their guard of each other's protective shell continues to flow in a natural way. While they may not be face to face, they are getting along very splendidly. Who knows? Maybe this match they both had hoped it could be has a chance. What could go wrong? They only have to persevere through a pandemic, and then this relationship will be ready to take off to the next level. That, my friends, is chapter 4 of What DIVOC. See you next time.